50 days of mini doodle art and watercolor paintings. I'm going to start out by sharing all 50 states. I'll pause on each one so you can check out those teeny tiny doodles. The paintings range from 3 to 4 inches, and I'll show you a few examples at the end, next to a quarter, just so you can get a good idea of the size reference. I spent a decent amount of time yesterday hanging these up in the hallway outside of my office, and they're hanging from copper wire with LED lights. So after we get through the entire United States collection, I'll show you how they look with just the soft glow from the fairy lights. And I also want to talk a little bit about the art challenge itself, the pros and cons, and the best and worst of my state artwork. So let's get into it. In case you haven't been following along, I've been posting one short per day for the past 50 days. And aside from maybe 2 busy weekends in there, I managed to stay on track. It wasn't always easy to find time every day for the prep work, the doodles, the painting, editing the videos, condensing them down into a 1-minute clip, and posting them on YouTube, along with a different song for each state. About a week in, I decided to try to feature a band or musician from that particular state, and it seemed like a great plan, but for a handful of them, I didn't recognize any of the artists, so then I just tried to find some lyrics having to do with the state or whatever doodle theme I was working on for that day. And when all else failed, I just went with something catchy or fun. But I really did like the idea of having the song mean something. But I will say, having to research this each and every day did add more time to the prep work. Okay, so if you've seen my channel before, then you probably already know that I love doodles and watercolor painting. So overall, it was a really good challenge, one that I enjoyed. And it kept me in that art mode, which is wonderful. But 50 days is a long time. I've done monthly art challenges in the past, but never anything longer than a month. So while I'm glad I completed it, and it is so cool to see them now all together, I'm also kind of relieved to be done. So moving forward, I think I'll stick to no more than a month-long time commitment. I'm someone who jumps around a lot with my art, like probably too much. So it was really hard to stay invested in one project for close to 2 months. And unfortunately, some days I think it showed that I just wasn't feeling it. So lesson learned, my attention span is better suited for 30 days or less. Now, I do want to mention a few other things that I enjoyed about the challenge. I don't mean for it to sound all bad. Okay, so for one, I actually learned quite a bit. For the most part, I tried to feature things that were relevant for that state. So for example, did you know that Michigan has the most lighthouses in the United States with around 120, and yet Rhode Island actually has more per square mile? I wanted to include not just big, well-known cities, but also some small towns as well. So now I know much more about the geography of each state. And as far as art goes, so many of the doodles were items that I've never drawn before in my life, or at least not since I was a young kid. So it was nice to learn how to draw, at least sort of draw, like a steamboat, a beaver, a lobster, and so on. Oh, and of course, there's the painting part. It's not like I was performing complex watercolor techniques, but I did get some practice with mild gradients. For many of the states, I like to leave the areas in the center a little bit lighter, and then I worked darker values along the edges and into the corners. And painting tiny, I feel like it can really help you with your overall precision and accuracy. This project also helped me when it came to considering my colors. I feel like when artwork is so simple, the colors become a huge deal, like even more so than normal. And you can definitely tell by looking at all these paintings that some color combos were highly successful, making the entire piece more appealing, while a couple cases, poorly planned combinations definitely hurt what could have been a pretty cute little painting. And now I'm going to give a shout out to the states that received the most views. So number 1 was Arkansas. And this kind of surprised me because I felt like most of my birds were a little wonky looking. But hey, way to represent Arkansas. Other top contenders were Colorado, Georgia, Tennessee, and North Dakota. And I'd like to tell you guys which ones were my favorites, and this is based on the doodle art as well as the colors. I tend to gravitate towards nature, and I absolutely love fall colors, so you're going to see that in most of my top picks. In no particular order: South Carolina, New Hampshire, Minnesota, New Jersey, Indiana, Maryland, and Alabama. And I think the flowers were some of the most fun ones to paint. So states like Kansas, South Dakota, and Idaho. I really enjoyed those. And of course, I love anything teeny tiny, especially animals. So West Virginia, Illinois, Wisconsin, Nevada, and Missouri. These paintings just really made me smile. They're silly, I know, but I just think they're cute. And the states where I feel I could have done better: Montana, Tennessee, Kentucky, not overly exciting. And sorry, Vermont, not my best effort. Wyoming, please forgive me. And now for the moment we've all been waiting for. Turn on those fairy lights. And for anyone who might be interested in watching the individual shorts versions, I'm going to link the playlist here. I'm a big fan of the whole sped up art process that you often see in YouTube shorts. Plus, I think that most of the songs are really just fun to sing along to. So if you have the time, I'd encourage you to check them out. Let me know in the comments, what state are you from? Well, I mean, if you are from a state at all, you could be from another country. But anyways, yeah, it was a really fun challenge, and I am glad that I completed it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.